I mean, the big thing with, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor is the fact that, like, Cal he's gray,
Yes.
Things have kind of gone sideways. And I think that the lack of morality in this game, or the fact that it's not strictly adhering to the Jedi Code, makes it a much, much better game. So, Jedi Survivor juggles a lot of systems and mechanics. It is a Souls-like Metroidvania collectathon with the usual dusting of RPG mechanics that you find in literally everything these days. But first and foremost, it is a good old-fashioned action-adventure game that, if you will pardon the expression, really makes you feel like a Jedi Knight. Now, one major reason that it's so much fun is that it doesn't make you worry too much about whether you are doing the right thing. Narratively, it touches on the usual good and evil themes, but mechanically, it just lets you have fun with the Force, even if that means playing a little fast and loose with the Jedi Code, and really, it's so much better because of it. Now, the first game to give players a lightsaber and Force powers and really just let them go nuts was Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, way back in 1997, I believe. But there was a catch. Picking the aggressive Force powers, i.e. the fun ones, would Force push its protagonist Kyle Katarn towards the dark side of the Force, and if you use too much Force lightning or Force destruction or Force pushing, you would get the bad ending just because you wanted to unlock the ability to throw your lightsaber at people and have a good time. And yes, that is how the Force works, but it puts a damper on anybody who wants a guilt-free power fantasy video game. Now, morality is one of the fundamental systems that makes Knights of the Old Republic games the classics that they are, but they're RPGs, and by definition, the fun is in playing a character's role and choosing how they engage with the narrative. Even then, KOTOR's developer BioWare later revealed that the vast majority of Mass Effect players chose the Paragon good guy path, so it seems like people really want to be the literal hero, even when the option to be bad is presented to them. The Force Unleashed games lived up to their namesake, really unleashing the Force, and the principal design philosophy from day one was to make a game that, quote, let you kick someone's ass with the Force. I believe those were the words uttered to George Lucas in a conference room, and he said, oh, that sounds pretty cool to me. Now, whether or not that was proper Jedi behavior was a non-issue because you played as Vader's secret apprentice, but it is also a far cry from that archetypal hero's journey, as Galen Marek was more of a morally gray anti-hero. He's literally a Starkiller, not a Skywalker. Now, we have Cal Kestis, who kicks plenty of people's ass with the Force while still fitting squarely in that conventional heroic Jedi archetype. And, there's a case to be made that if the Jedi Order hadn't fallen, he might still need a few credits to graduate. So Cal is kind of a Jedi with a GED, but you know what they say, desperate times call for desperate measures, and I guess you could say the same of dark times and dark measures. So, yes, he murders hundreds of Imperial troops and lays waste to the local wildlife and basically moonlights as a bounty hunter, but he is still a good guy and a Jedi. It says so on the title screen. Cal might be fighting for his own survival, but he still makes time to be chivalrous and help out the locals. Peace and justice might be in short supply under the Imperial rule, but our guy is doing his part to uphold it, even if that means rescuing prospectors and fighting raiders in some podunk backwater system. Not exactly fighting for the fate of the galaxy. We'll allow it. The original trilogy is filled with plenty of grand heroic moments, but none of the major lightsaber duels end in the conventional good guy beats bad guy fashion. Obi-Wan basically throws the fight with Vader. When Luke and Vader square off, Luke eventually gets cornered, disarmed, dishanded, and then hung out to dry on a weather vane, and then in the big final showdown with the Emperor, Luke chooses pacifism and Vader does his dirty work for him. These scenes all make for great, compelling, classic storytelling, but any of these as a final boss fight in an action game would kind of feel like a cop-out, assuming that it didn't just give you a game over screen and make you do it all over again. A boss fight that you win by refusing to fight the boss really only flies in conversation-heavy RPGs or Kojima games. Now, Fallen Order and Survivor both have stories to tell, but they also exist to let players live out their fantasies of swinging around a lightsaber and using the Force. So, whether you're playing on the hardest difficulty and relishing the euphoric thrill of each challenge that you overcome, or taking it easy and letting off some steam, wreaking havoc as an unkillable space wizard, the end result is the same. It feels good to play. Star Wars is full of stuff that makes for fun video games. Lightsabers? Hell yes. Force powers? Sign me up. Strictly adhering to the Jedi Code? It's not exactly what I would call fun, so I'm really glad that Respawn went super hard on the first two and left the hokey religions and philosophical mumbo-jumbo to be dealt with in other corners of the galaxy or tackled on the narrative front so it doesn't trip up gameplay. And really, let's be honest here, whether you're a Sith Lord or a Jedi Knight, Force throwing people off of a cliff is a blast.